There are places on Earth that still feel untouched by time. Vast valleys where rivers carve their quiet paths through ancient stone. Mountains rise like monuments to a world far older than human memory. Forests stretch for miles without roads, without lights, without witnesses. In places like this, mysteries survive. And for centuries, travelers, hunters, and explorers have reported encountering something that should not exist. A creature. Large. Powerful. Covered in dark hair. Walking upright like a human, but not human at all. Many know it by one name. Bigfoot. But some researchers believe the creature's story did not begin in these forests. They believe its origins may lie far deeper in time, and perhaps far beyond Earth. Long before modern civilization, long before written history, the planet was home to another kind of human, a species that walked the cold landscapes of Eurasia. Neanderthals. Strong. Resilient. Perfectly adapted to survive Ice Age winters that would have killed modern humans. For hundreds of thousands of years, they thrived. But around 40,000 years ago, something changed. Neanderthals disappeared. Or at least, that is what the history books say. Some theorists argue the story may not be so simple. Genetic evidence tells us that Neanderthals did not vanish entirely. Fragments of their DNA still exist in modern human populations. But what if something else happened? What if a small number of Neanderthals were taken, preserved, altered? And what if the agents responsible were not human? Across cultures and continents, ancient legends speak of visitors from the sky. Strange beings descending in glowing craft. Teachers, watchers, sometimes even creators. To mainstream science, these stories are myths. But to some researchers, they are clues. Clues that thousands of years ago, an advanced intelligence may have taken a profound interest in Earth's most adaptable species. The Neanderthals. Imagine a moment far back in the prehistoric world. Ice still clings to the northern mountains. The forests are wild and endless. A small group of Neanderthals gathers near a river valley much like this one. Above them, silent and unseen, a craft hovers in the clouds. Inside, observers study the inhabitants of Earth. They see strength, endurance, but also limitation. And so begins a controversial theory, that these visitors conducted experiments. Experiments that combined alien genetic engineering with the rugged DNA of Neanderthals. The goal? To create a hybrid species. One that could thrive in the most hostile environments on the planet. A creature larger than a human. Stronger than a human. Able to endure cold winters, dense forests, and remote mountains where few other primates could survive. A species designed to remain hidden, to observe, to endure. A species we might know today by another name. Bigfoot. Modern science dismisses this idea as speculation. There is no fossil record of such experiments. No laboratory. No ancient records describing extraterrestrial genetics. And yet, the mystery persists. Across North America and Asia, thousands of sightings continue to be reported. Massive footprints. Unidentified vocalizations in the wilderness. Brief glimpses of a towering figure disappearing into the trees. Creatures that seem to avoid human contact, yet appear remarkably intelligent. As if they are not simply animals, but something more. Could Bigfoot be the last surviving descendants of a prehistoric hybrid experiment? A hidden population quietly inhabiting the most remote landscapes on Earth? Or are these stories simply echoes of humanity's fascination with the unknown? For now, the answers remain hidden. Perhaps in valleys like this one, where the river still winds through ancient forests, and the mountains keep their secrets. Coming up. In the next segment, we examine the strange overlap between Bigfoot sightings and UFO encounters, and why some researchers believe the two mysteries may be deeply connected. There are places where the modern world simply fades away. Deep valleys where the only sounds are wind through the pines, water moving over stone, and the quiet creaking of old timber cabins standing alone against the wilderness. Places like this attract a certain kind of person. Hunters, hikers, people seeking solitude. And sometimes, they encounter something unexpected. Across North America, thousands of Bigfoot sightings share a curious pattern. The encounters rarely happen near cities. They occur here, in remote valleys, dense forests, mountain wilderness far from civilization. Places exactly like this one. But what many witnesses report before or after their sightings raises a strange question. Because in some cases, they also report something in the sky. Lights, silent objects moving above the trees, strange glowing shapes drifting through the night sky without sound. For decades, researchers studying unexplained aerial phenomena have noticed a puzzling overlap. Regions with repeated UFO sightings sometimes also report unusual Bigfoot activity. At first glance, the connection seems unlikely. One mystery belongs to the sky. The other belongs to the forest. But some theorists believe the two may be connected. Imagine this valley thousands of years ago. Before roads. Before cabins. Before humans spread across the continent. A hidden wilderness. The perfect environment for an experiment. If an advanced intelligence had created a hybrid species designed to survive Earth's harshest environments, it would need a place to live. A place where the species could remain undisturbed. A place like this. Some researchers suggest the hybrid descendants of Neanderthals, what we now call Bigfoot, may have been deliberately placed in remote ecosystems. Forests capable of supporting large omnivores. Mountain ranges where humans rarely traveled. Regions where the creatures could remain hidden, generation after generation. But the theory does not end there. Because if Bigfoot were originally created by an extraterrestrial intelligence, then perhaps those creators never truly left. Throughout the 20th century, scattered reports describe unusual aerial lights appearing over wilderness areas known for Bigfoot sightings. Campers speak of glowing objects hovering silently above the treetops. Hunters describe strange beams of light sweeping through the forest. And in rare cases, witnesses claim to see towering figures, large, hair-covered shapes, moving through the trees shortly after these sightings. Coincidence? Or surveillance? One possibility proposed by fringe researchers is that these aerial objects are not visitors. They are observers, monitoring a species that may have been created long ago. If Bigfoot is indeed the product of an ancient genetic experiment, its population might be small, perhaps even fragile. An intelligent creator might choose to quietly monitor such a species, ensuring its survival. Watching from above. Modern science has found no evidence to support this idea. No confirmed link between unidentified aerial phenomena and large primates. And yet the pattern continues to intrigue researchers. Why do so many sightings occur in the same remote regions? Why do witnesses sometimes report strange lights in the sky at the same time? And why does the creature itself seem remarkably skilled at avoiding human detection, as if it possesses an awareness beyond that of ordinary animals? Tonight, this valley appears peaceful. A cabin sits quietly beside the river. Mist rises through the trees. The mountains stand silent under the evening sky. But somewhere beyond the tree-line, Something may still be watching, waiting, hidden in the wilderness as it has been for thousands of years. In the next segment, we examine the physical evidence behind the legend. The massive footprints, mysterious vocalizations, and unexplained DNA samples that continue to fuel the debate over whether Bigfoot could be something more than myth. Night falls differently in the wilderness. As darkness settles across the mountains, the forests seem to grow deeper, the silence heavier. Mist drifts through the trees like slow-moving ghosts. And above the valley, the stars burn with a clarity rarely seen in the modern world. In places like this, the unknown feels closer. For decades, investigators searching for Bigfoot have returned to environments like this one. Remote valleys, dense forests, regions where human presence is rare. And in these quiet landscapes, they claim to have discovered traces, clues left behind by something large, something powerful, something walking on two legs. The most famous evidence is simple: footprints. Enormous impressions pressed deep into mud, snow, and soft earth, some measuring more than 20 inches long, many displaying anatomical details that intrigue researchers. Flexible mid-foot structure, toe spacing that resembles primate locomotion, weight distribution patterns suggesting a creature far heavier than any human. For believers, these tracks point to a large, undiscovered primate. But for others, they raise an even stranger possibility. What if the creature responsible is not simply an animal, but a hybrid species? Some theorists argue that if extraterrestrial scientists once experimented with Neanderthal genetics, they may have engineered traits designed for survival in extreme wilderness. Large body size to retain heat in cold climates, dense hair for insulation, powerful muscles for navigating rugged terrain, and perhaps most importantly, an intelligence capable of avoiding humans. Witnesses often describe Bigfoot behavior that seems surprisingly strategic. The creatures appear only briefly. They move silently through dense forest. They avoid open ground. Some researchers even claim the animals demonstrate an understanding of human patterns, appearing in areas only when people are absent, almost as if they have learned, over centuries, how to remain hidden. But the footprints are not the only evidence. In the quiet hours of the night, campers and researchers sometimes report hearing sounds that defy easy explanation. Deep howls echoing through the valleys, wood knocks reverberating between trees, low, guttural vocalizations that seem almost conversational. Audio recordings collected over the years reveal calls unlike those of any known North American animal. Too deep for coyotes, too powerful for wolves, too complex for bears. To some investigators, these vocalizations suggest a species with a sophisticated communication system, perhaps even a primitive language. And then there is the genetic mystery. In recent decades, hair samples attributed to unknown primates have occasionally surfaced. When tested, some results return strange findings. Fragments of human DNA, mixed with unidentified sequences. Most scientists attribute these anomalies to contamination. But for those who believe in the hybrid theory, the results are tantalizing. Because if Bigfoot truly descended from a long-forgotten genetic experiment, its DNA might contain markers that do not easily match known species. Still, mainstream science remains skeptical. No confirmed skeletal remains. No verified body. No undeniable genetic proof. Without these, the existence of Bigfoot remains officially unrecognized. And yet the reports continue. Thousands of sightings across decades. Footprints. Sounds. Brief glimpses of a towering figure disappearing into the trees. Tonight, under the vast sky above this valley, the forest appears quiet. But somewhere in the darkness, hidden beyond the reach of human light, something may still be moving. A survivor of an ancient lineage. Perhaps the descendant of a forgotten experiment. A creature shaped by wilderness, and possibly by intelligence far older than our own. In the next segment, we explore one of the most controversial questions surrounding the mystery. If Bigfoot truly exists, why has no one ever captured one? And could the answer lie in abilities that go beyond ordinary biology? There are landscapes on Earth that seem almost untouched by the passage of time. Towering granite cliffs rise from the valley floor like ancient monuments. Cold rivers wind through forests of pine and autumn fire. And the wilderness stretches for hundreds of miles without roads, cities, or lights. Places like this are beautiful, but they are also unforgiving. Winters here can be brutal. Food is scarce for months at a time. Only the most adaptable creatures survive. Which raises a question. If Bigfoot exists, why would it choose to live in environments like this? Most large primates prefer warmer climates. Chimpanzees and gorillas thrive in dense tropical forests. They rely on abundant vegetation and stable ecosystems. But Bigfoot sightings are different. Reports consistently place the creature in cold mountains, remote forests, and rugged wilderness across North America and Asia. Environments that would challenge even the most capable human explorer. Yet witnesses often describe Bigfoot as moving through these regions with remarkable ease, climbing steep slopes, crossing rivers, disappearing into dense forest terrain where tracking becomes almost impossible. For some researchers, this suggests something extraordinary, a species specifically adapted for survival in harsh environments. This is where the hybrid theory enters the discussion. Neanderthals, who lived in Ice Age Europe and Asia, possessed several traits that helped them survive extreme climates. They were stronger than modern humans. Their bodies were stockier and more compact, conserving heat. Their lungs and muscles were built for endurance in cold environments. Now imagine those traits, enhanced, modified, combined with the advanced genetic knowledge of a civilization far more technologically capable than our own. According to this controversial theory, extraterrestrial researchers may have identified Neanderthals as the ideal genetic foundation for a wilderness-adapted hybrid. By introducing changes, perhaps increasing physical size, strengthening muscle density, and altering metabolic efficiency, they could have created a species capable of thriving in remote ecosystems. A species strong enough to endure the harshest conditions on Earth. A species that could survive where humans rarely venture. A species that might still exist today. Witness descriptions of Bigfoot often emphasize unusual physical traits. Height estimates range from 7 to 10 feet tall. Broad shoulders. Extremely long arms. And a stride capable of covering enormous distances with minimal effort. Trackways sometimes stretch for miles through remote forest terrain. Footprints appear, then vanish, as if the creature simply melted back into the wilderness. Some researchers believe this level of mobility suggests a creature with incredible stamina, a biological design built for movement across vast territories. Then there is the question of population. If Bigfoot were a natural species, scientists would expect to find clear evidence, bones, remains, or fossils. Yet none have been conclusively identified. This absence has puzzled investigators for decades. Some theorists offer a provocative possibility. If the population were small, perhaps carefully managed, it might remain nearly invisible to modern science, especially in landscapes this vast. Look across this valley. Miles of forest stretch beyond the mountains. Hidden canyons. Deep river systems. Unexplored wilderness where few humans ever travel. In regions like these, a rare and intelligent species could remain concealed for generations. Perhaps centuries. Perhaps much longer. As the sun sets behind the granite peaks, the valley grows quiet. Shadows stretch across the forest. The river continues its ancient path through the trees. But somewhere beyond the visible ridges, something may still be watching the wilderness. A survivor of an ancient experiment. A species designed to endure. A living mystery hidden in the wild places of the earth. In the next segment, we investigate the possibility that Bigfoot may possess abilities that go beyond physical strength, including the strange reports of creatures that appear and disappear, as if they understand how to avoid human detection entirely. Winter transforms the wilderness. Snow blankets the valley floor. Ice locks the rivers in slow motion, and the mountains stand silent beneath a pale winter sky. In places like this, survival is not easy. Temperatures plunge far below freezing. Food disappears beneath deep snow. Only the most resilient creatures endure, which makes one aspect of the Bigfoot mystery especially puzzling. If the creature exists, why does it appear most often in landscapes like these? The forests and mountains of North America are among the harshest environments on Earth. Yet many reported Bigfoot sightings occur during late autumn and winter. Hunters tracking elk through snowy ridges. Loggers working in remote valleys. Campers hearing deep, echoing calls in the cold night air. And occasionally, witnesses report finding something unusual. Massive footprints pressed into fresh snow. Tracks that move across frozen ground for miles, before vanishing into the forest. To most wildlife biologists, the idea of an undiscovered giant primate surviving in this environment seems unlikely. Large primates typically require warm climates. They depend on steady supplies of vegetation and fruit. But Bigfoot, if it exists, appears to thrive in conditions where most primates would struggle to survive. And this is where some theorists return to an unusual possibility. A species not born naturally, but engineered. Thousands of years ago, Neanderthals were among the most cold-adapted humans ever to walk the earth. Their bodies were powerful and compact, their bones thick and dense, their muscles capable of extraordinary endurance. Neanderthals survived Ice Age winters that shaped much of the northern hemisphere. But then they disappeared, or so it seemed. According to the hybrid theory, an advanced intelligence, perhaps extraterrestrial, may have seen potential in this resilient species. Neanderthals already possessed many traits necessary for survival in extreme climates. With genetic modification, those traits could be amplified. Strength increased. Endurance extended. Body mass enhanced for cold environments. The result could be a new kind of being. Part human ancestor. Part engineered survivor. Witness descriptions of Bigfoot often include details consistent with this idea. A towering figure, 8 or 9 feet tall. Broad shoulders and immense muscle mass. Arms long enough to swing powerfully while walking upright. Thick hair covering the entire body. A design almost perfectly suited for cold mountain wilderness. Some witnesses even report seeing the creatures walking easily through deep snow, moving with a stride that covers enormous distances, as if the terrain itself offers little resistance. But perhaps the most fascinating question is not how the species survives. It is how it remains hidden. These mountain valleys stretch for hundreds of miles. Vast forests cover the slopes. Deep canyons and hidden caves cut through the landscape. In such immense wilderness, A rare and intelligent species might easily avoid human contact, especially one that has had thousands of years to learn the terrain. And yet, the sightings persist. A figure crossing a distant ridge at sunset. Strange tracks appearing after fresh snowfall. Low, echoing calls that travel through frozen valleys. Each report adding another small piece to the puzzle. As the winter sun sinks behind the granite peaks, the valley grows quiet once again. The river continues to flow beneath its crust of ice. The forest stands still in the cold. But somewhere in these mountains, something may still be moving through the snow. A creature shaped by ancient forces, perhaps by ancient science. A descendant of a forgotten experiment, hidden in the wilderness since the Ice Age. In the next segment, we explore one of the most unsettling possibilities of all. If Bigfoot truly originated from an alien genetic experiment, are the creators still watching their creation today? Morning arrives quietly in the wilderness. Sunlight spills across the granite cliffs. A river winds through the valley floor like a ribbon of glass. And the forests awaken slowly beneath a pale blue sky. To most visitors, this landscape feels peaceful, untouched, ancient. But for some researchers studying the mystery of Bigfoot, this wilderness may also be something else. A laboratory. If the hybrid theory is correct, if Bigfoot is the descendant of an ancient genetic experiment, then one unsettling question follows. What became of the scientists who created it? Did they simply leave? Or could they still be here, quietly observing their creation? For centuries, human cultures have told stories about watchers, beings that arrived from the sky, observers who studied humanity from a distance. Ancient texts from different civilizations speak of mysterious visitors who possessed knowledge far beyond human understanding. Many historians consider these stories symbolic, myths born from the human imagination. But others believe the stories may preserve fragments of a forgotten reality. In modern times, the idea of extraterrestrial visitors has taken a different form. Unidentified aerial phenomena. Strange lights reported over mountains and wilderness. Objects moving silently across the sky, performing maneuvers beyond the capability of known aircraft. For decades, investigators cataloging these sightings have noticed something curious. Many reports occur in the same remote regions associated with Bigfoot encounters. The connection may be coincidence, but some researchers see a pattern. Valleys where hikers report enormous footprints. Mountain ridges where hunters claim to hear deep, echoing calls. And occasionally, glowing lights drifting silently above the forest canopy. Lights that appear briefly, then vanish. If an advanced civilization once created a hybrid species designed to survive Earth's harsh wilderness, it might not abandon the experiment entirely. Instead, it might monitor the species over time, studying how it adapts, how it spreads, how it interacts with its environment, from high above and far beyond human detection. Imagine this valley thousands of years ago, before modern humans explored the mountains, before roads carved through the forests. The hybrid species released into the wild. A small population learning to survive. And somewhere beyond the clouds, silent observers recording the results, watching as the creatures adapt to their new world, generation after generation. Some witnesses who report Bigfoot sightings also describe strange behavior in the sky. Lights appearing shortly before or after an encounter. Objects hovering above remote forests. Occasional beams of light scanning the wilderness below. Most scientists attribute these stories to misidentified aircraft or natural phenomena. But the timing continues to intrigue investigators. Why do these reports so often occur in the same isolated regions? Look across this valley. Miles of wilderness stretch beyond the horizon. Hidden lakes, unexplored ridges, deep forests where humans rarely travel. If something unusual were being monitored here, few people would ever notice, and those who did might struggle to explain what they saw. Perhaps Bigfoot is simply an undiscovered primate, a relic population surviving quietly in the deep wilderness. Or perhaps it represents something more unusual, a biological experiment begun long ago, still unfolding today. If that is true, then the most unsettling possibility may be this: the experiment may not be over. As the sun climbs above the mountains, the valley seems peaceful once again. The river continues its endless journey. The forests sway in the wind. But somewhere beyond the visible sky, something may still be watching, waiting, observing the descendants of an ancient experiment that has endured for thousands of years. In the final segment, we confront the ultimate question. If Bigfoot truly exists, and if it carries the legacy of an alien genetic experiment, what does that mean for humanity itself? Because the answer may change how we understand our place in the universe. As the sun sinks behind the granite peaks, the wilderness glows in the colors of fire and gold. The river moves quietly through the valley. Pine forests stretch toward the horizon, and the mountains stand as they have for millions of years. To the casual observer, this landscape is simply beautiful. But for those who study the mystery of Bigfoot, places like this may hold something more. A secret older than human civilization. For centuries, humanity has asked a single question about the universe. Are we alone? Scientists search distant planets. Radio telescopes scan the skies for signals from distant stars. But what if evidence of another intelligence has been walking beside us all along, hidden not in space, but here on Earth? If the hybrid theory is correct, Bigfoot would represent something extraordinary. Not simply an undiscovered animal, but a living artifact, a biological creation, the result of advanced genetic experimentation performed thousands of years ago. An experiment that blended the DNA of ancient Neanderthals with technology beyond our understanding. If that possibility were ever proven, the implications would be profound. It would mean humanity was not the first intelligence capable of manipulating life. It would mean Earth has already served as a laboratory for advanced science. And it would raise a question that challenges everything we believe about our place in the cosmos. Were we the only species studied? Or simply one of many? Neanderthals once walked this planet beside early humans. Strong, adaptable, remarkably resilient. And yet they vanished from history roughly 40,000 years ago. Most scientists believe they were gradually absorbed into the growing population of modern humans. But if even a small number were taken, altered, and released into the wilderness, their descendants might still be here today, hidden in the deep forests and remote mountain ranges of the world. Across North America, Asia, and parts of Europe, Bigfoot legends persist. Stories passed down for generations. Creatures seen briefly along remote trails. Massive footprints found in mud or snow. Echoing calls heard deep within the forest at night. Many dismiss these accounts as folklore. Yet the sheer number of reports continues to intrigue investigators. But perhaps the most powerful idea behind the mystery is not whether Bigfoot exists. It is what the creature might represent. Because if an ancient intelligence once altered life on Earth, then humanity may not be as unique as we imagine. Our own DNA may hold stories we have yet to understand. Fragments of ancient interactions. Traces of experiments conducted long before recorded history. Look again at this valley. The forests. The rivers. The towering cliffs. Somewhere within landscapes like this, something may still be moving quietly through the wilderness. A descendant of an ancient species. A survivor of a forgotten experiment. A living reminder that the story of life on Earth may be far more complicated than we realize. Perhaps Bigfoot is only legend. A creature born from human imagination. Or perhaps it is something far stranger. A hidden branch of the human family tree. One shaped not only by evolution, but by intelligence beyond our world. As night settles over the valley, the wilderness grows silent once again. The stars appear overhead, and the forest returns to darkness. But the question remains. If something once came here and changed life on Earth, what else might they have left behind? And are they still watching? The mystery of Bigfoot may not only be about a creature in the woods. It may be about us. About who we are, where we came from, and whether humanity's story has always been larger than we believed.